Remember when this car came out and everyone absolutely hated it?
And honestly, I kind of did too. Oh.
And just remember when it came out, everyone thought BMW had lost their mind. The buck teeth, the beaver teeth, the weight of the car, M cars had lost their soul.
For almost 40 years, the BMW M3 was the benchmark sports car. Lightweight, balanced, just sketchy enough to make you feel like a hero. Then BMW gave it more power, then turbos, and then they split the coupe off into its own thing called the M4. Then in 2021, BMW completely broke the internet. People hated this grille. They hated the weight. They hated the fact it was all-wheel drive. Meanwhile, BMW quietly put a 500 horsepower missile that'll do 0 to 60 and basically your license gone seconds into people's driveways for just barely even more than the previous generation was. Somehow the most controversial M car ever made also became one of the fastest.
Yeah, like scary fast.
And now people can't get enough of them. Hello everyone and welcome to Performance on Wheels. My name is Todd. My son Austin and I, we make all sorts of videos on all sorts of different cars. We love even much cheaper cars than what's in today's video. So as we cram some gears in the M4, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. Because still 95% of you, although you love our videos, haven't hit that button.
I still remember opening Instagram the day that BMW launched this car and thinking that what has the world come to, because I've never seen so many hate comments in my life. The negativity around this vehicle when it launched was truly astronomical, and I haven't heard anyone say something negative about this car in like 2 years. People now love and crave the look of the M3 and the M4.
It is true that the internet absolutely despised this car, but the buyers had a different opinion. They absolutely love it. It has quickly become one of the best-selling generations of the M3, M4 of all time.
And I really think that's highly attributed to its all-wheel drive system. It's now sellable in multiple climates around the entire US and other countries and able to be driven in all 4 seasons while still being able to shut off that all-wheel drive and enjoy that 2-wheel drive experience. Speaking of experience, let's get behind the wheel of this thing and see why people enjoy it just so much. Behind the wheel of the M4, now, I'll be honest, it does feel like a race car. It's very stiff, but you do get used to it in a hurry. So used to it, in fact, that it could easily be a daily driver is why I'm saying that. The steering is light, and it doesn't really have a whole lot of feedback, but it is very direct, and it's quite impressive what this car can do in corners. I just wish that I could feel the road a little bit more and had a little bit more engagement as to what was going on with those front 2 tires. This car is just so fast, so unbelievably quick. I just wish that I wish that it was more fun, if that makes sense. Like, it's just too easy how quick it is. And I think a big part of it is the transmission that they hooked it up to. Now, for whatever reason, the transmission is so much more fun in different cars. And what I'm referring to is the ZF8 speed. Now, for whatever reason, we have an F-Type SVR at home. My dad and I take it all over the place. We have a lot of fun in that car. And the ZF8 speed in that car is really engaging. It's a lot of fun. And I almost feel like it's just because of the way that they tune the shifts in that car. Because the way that they tuned them in this, they're not aggressive at all. They just make a little brr on shift. You don't really feel anything. It doesn't feel engaging when this car shifts. You can just hear it shift. And I think that takes away a lot from the engagement of this car. However, the way that they did tune that ZF8 speed makes it so this car is so quick. It's just blisteringly fast. It's almost like, I hate to say it, it's almost like an electric car, the acceleration that this car has. You don't feel it shift. It just pulls, and it pulls so hard, and the launch feels so instantaneous. It's very impressive what they did with this car and the technology. Just pure violence out of the hole, and that was it. That was 60 miles an hour right there. I mean, it doesn't even feel like 3 seconds how violently this car accelerates. There's nothing like it. There is nothing quite like how quick this car builds boost, how it feels like it never has any lag at all RPM in the rev range. This thing feels like it has full power, and it is very impressive, this motor, and I can't imagine what it feels like to be in one that's tuned and has some downpipes on it. They did a great job with it. It's just, if I had 2 gripes with it, is that the steering is really light and I can't feel anything through the wheel, even though it's really good. It has no feedback, and the transmission isn't fun. Like, it shifts fast, it shifts when you want it to, it just isn't fun. but truly, it feels like it could be the ultimate daily driver. I do love the feel behind this car, but let's talk about what it's like to live with on a day-to-day basis with this interior.
There's no denying that the engineers at BMW threw everything at the G82 M4 here, and driving it is truly a joy. Now, getting behind the wheel of it and taking that part of it in, remove driving experience and what is the car just like to sit in, to be in. There's some difference of opinion here, and I think you guys would agree with us as well. Although the $4,500 option carbon buckets competition seats are incredible to look at, I think there's going to be a large difference of opinion if it's something you actually want to live with every day. For instance, Austin thinks they're pretty darn cool, and I don't know that I'd want to enjoy these over a week of ownership. I'd view this as a weekend only car, because I guess it's the 20-year age gap there of I want something a little more comfortable where he's still ready to party every time he gets behind the wheel.
The seats are comfortable once you do finally get in them, but they are challenging to get in and get out of due to that very aggressive lower bolster. And the lack of lumbar makes it very unenjoyable to drive this car for a long period of time. But outside of the seats, let's talk about the remainder of the interior of this car, where I am severely disappointed. Okay. For the $100,000 price point on this car, the materials are not up to par.
But you have to take that with a grain of salt, because this is a $100,000 track weapon. There's a lot of the assembly and the engineering that is directly related to that GT3 over in the racing club lineup. So this is a race car that you drive and you buy at the dealership and you drive it on the street. That is what this car is. So with that $100,000, this isn't the luxury BMW that some people have in their mind. This is a true track focused car. Although I think it's ridiculous that you hit on some of the panels and they are hard as a rock, and there's really not that many luxurious touches when you look at it. It's you have to remember what you're in. You really do.
And it's not just the fact that some of these panels are hard as a rock, though. I knock on some of these panels and I genuinely feel rattling inside of them. This headliner looks like it's from a Pontiac from the early 2000s, and the fact that the whole interior is just powered by a big old screen, it makes me miss the previous generation, the F80 generation of M3, where some design went into play versus just putting a big screen in the car and developing the same technology that's in every other BMW. It leaves me lacking and wishing for more. I miss the analog gauges with the little digital mixed inside with them. The screens and the plastic everywhere and the rattly door panels, they're just not it. But let's talk about the outside.
My least favorite rattle that I heard as we were zipping around in the M4, it seemed to be coming from that ginormous soup bowl of a heads-up display that's up there. Right around 3,000, 4,000 RPMs, you get that engine note just right, and there's some sort of vibration that would even overtake the engine sound that's coming from up there. And this is a 24 with around 9,000 miles on it. So it just has you question that build quality a little bit. There is some good news though. If you are trying to justify, I need this car, I realize it's a track weapon, it still does have that 4-seat capability that's actually fairly roomy and comfortable.
Yeah.
Not only from a sitting standpoint, but also there's a pretty good sizable trunk. So it's definitely a rocket ship that you can live with.
The only complaint I had about the back seat is the headliner, just the way that it slopes down. You really can't put your head back, but if you kind of lean forward a little bit, the back seat's very comfortable. You also have your own adjustable climate control back there. They did a pretty solid job on that interior. Now let's talk about the outside. The most controversial M car of all time, well, until the new M5 came out, which there's even more haters online all about. But I don't understand how I hated this car so much to now I love it so much. I think it looks sweet. I mean, there's a few angles here and there where I think that grille is just hideous, but quite honestly, it has grown on me so much, and I have seen people put some different front ends on them. The CS has come out, and there's so many options for aftermarket with the front end of these cars that really does look quite aggressive. I'm a big fan of it.
Now, if you think back, the 2 Series had it figured out. When the transition took over from the F platforms to the G platforms, everyone was ranting and raving that the 2 Series was an amazing looking BMW. And then they went up to the 3 and 4 Series, and they thought the designers had completely lost their mind. I was, in fact, on that band club as well. I actually went out and bought a brand new 22 G82 M240i, had the B58 in it. Really awesome car. When I looked across the market for a car at that $60,000 and less dollar range, like that was the car. And that was just that sweet spot before they put in the screen that we talked about in the 2 Series as well. Now it just, like Austin said, every BMW looks the same in that regard. So I actually had some fun gauges and a separate screen. It was kind of a sweet time to get a little 2 Series. That car was $40,000 less than this car. And it was all for, I don't know, a half a second 0 to 60 time. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. This car is straight derived from the racing team. This carbon fiber roof, as an example, it's not just carbon fiber. It's not just lightweight. It integrates the cooling system from the car to somehow like hold the air over the roof. And so it's not just a lightweight feature. There's some cooling aspect to it. Race car stuff. It's awesome.
And now, speaking of race car stuff, we need to pop the hood to talk about what is truly the beating heart of the new G80 M3, M4. I think this is what people absolutely rave for about this car, which is this here, the S58, the replacement from the previous gen's S55. Now, the S55 made the old M3 exciting, where the S58 genuinely makes the new M3 and M4 terrifying. We're talking about a horsepower increase of around 70, give or take, with the competition here making around 503. That gives us a 0 to 60 time of about 3 seconds, a quarter mile time of about 11.1, at a trap speed of around 125. We're talking 0 to 100 in 8 seconds, and the aftermarket on this car is probably what's the most mind-boggling out of anything. Take a quick listen to these numbers. Stock, we're talking about 470 to 500 wheel horsepower is what people are seeing on the dyno with these, which is just crazy. Just a tune brings us up to about 550 to 600 wheel horsepower. Throw downpipes on there, 600 to 650, and then do a little E-blend with some small bolt-ons, and we're talking about a 650 to 750 wheel horsepower car with some very minimal aftermarket, and we're seeing the bottom ends hold up on these things just fine with what I just brought up for numbers.
Ultimately, the S58 was over-engineered and overbuilt from the factory, and that's why it's capable of putting down all the numbers that Austin just mentioned. The cooling system is engineered for lap after lap abuse, while the competitors are going into the pits so they can deal with their heat stroke. The M4 can just reliably go lap after lap out on the track. Some people may think that the transmission that BMW went with is a downgrade, but not in my opinion. I've been a big fan of this transmission, and I'm gonna go sidebar squirrel moment because that's what I do here. I actually own a 17 F-Type SVR, and there's a lot of similarities. No, I don't have a backseat. No, I don't have the trunk. But when it comes to performance numbers, these are very similar cars. If you got the right driver, this one will win, but maybe by the beaver teeth up front, and that's about it. They both have the same transmission. They both have ZF8 speeds. I had the ZF8 speed in my G42. I've had ZF8 speeds in numerous cars over the years, and they're really good transmissions. Like, they're lightning quick, they're fun engagement, but they're still going to be the true enthusiasts that say it doesn't have the feel or the mechanicalness that a dual clutch has.
It truly doesn't. The previous gen of M3 and M4, in my opinion, just had that engagement and touch point feel when you touch those paddles that is just lacking in the G80 generation. However, I cannot deny the fact that it is significantly more reliable than the previous gen's dual clutch, while still putting out very similar shift times. So there's ups and there's downs to everything. So it just comes down to personal preference.
I truly appreciate that automakers such as BMW are putting these cars still out on the road for us to enjoy.
It's not EV.
There are no batteries at all in the M4, so thumbs up BMW for staying true to what most enthusiasts want. At the end of the day, though, I don't know if I'm a buyer for this car. That's because there are so many other options out there that maybe aren't the depreciating missile that a M4 is. They're just a missile that is maybe a little more reliable at the end of the day, as well as holding its value a little more. Maybe an older car is where I would go versus this.
I do see where you're coming from, but we do have to appreciate the fact that the M3 and the M4 of this generation have been showing the fact that they're pretty much bulletproof reliable. The depreciation curve has been very minimal and they're holding their value quite well. I really do think that this is a great value proposition car for a long-term daily driver that has some really great capability. Now, personally, I'd probably go the route of getting the M3 over the M4 simply because of having the back seats and a little bit more storage for my daily driver. But I am genuinely impressed at this car. I think this is Probably the coolest new daily driver that's currently on the market for a sedan. I mean, I can't think of another sedan that I'd probably take over one of these right now. It is incredible, the value proposition that this car has for the aftermarket capability and reliability. I love this car. I think it is very unique. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video today here on Performance on Wheels. We look forward to seeing you guys next time.